What's up, guys? This is Danny from Rethink Peer-to-Peer Lending. Today I'm meeting up with Melissa, PR and Community Manager at the e-Residency program. Melissa, thank you very much for taking the time so we can have a little conversation about the e-Residency program. And yeah, maybe just to start off a little bit for our viewers and listeners, what your personal background is and what do you do at e-Residency?
Thank you for having me, and hello from sunny Tallinn. I'm Melissa, so my role at e-Residency is PR and community, so I do anything to do with the community, to nurture relationships, to help the community grow their businesses and create a stronger network. My background is in international relations, and I've been in marketing and comms since my professional career started. So I started a PR agency, and then I've now been with e-Residency for almost 6 years.
All right, that's quite a long time, so I'm assuming it will be easy for you to answer what e-Residency is all about for those that have never heard about it before.
Sure. So e-Residency is a digital identity. This gives access to Estonia's digital infrastructure. So in Estonia, everything is online. More than 90% of government services are accessible digitally. The only thing basically that you can't do at this point is get divorced.
Ah, okay. Why is that?
Unfortunately, you have to be there and show them that you're really sure about this, I think. But I think this is changing too.
Okay, but you can get married online?
You can propose online.
Ah, okay. You know cases where this happened, or?
I do indeed.
Okay.
So basically, you can log into the system, the digital system. You can sign digitally and send a proposal, and that will arrive in the email box of your partner.
Okay. And he just co-signs and then done deal?
Not done deal, but if you sign the application, then you can go and get married, because there's like a 30-day period.
Okay, I see.
But this is just one example of how Estonia is digital. What we can do also digitally is register a company. And this is the point of e-Residency. So once you have the digital identity, you're able to access everything that is online in Estonia, this including the business registry. So that means you can be anywhere in the world at any time. As an e-resident, you can register a business and run this business 24/7 from anywhere. So basically, if you're thinking about traveling around, or it's really difficult in the country you're in to open a business, or you have a co-founder in a different country, this is exactly for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's obviously one example right next to you, having the e-Residency for the past almost 2 years by now, and also the transition opening up a business account in Estonia went very smoothly, but maybe we can elaborate in a second. For now, just like some basic information about the e-Residency program, I'm assuming, or I mean, we talked about it beforehand, it's funded by the government, obviously. What's the idea behind why to attract more e-residents in to this kind of program? How many e-residents do you have at the moment? And I think also lately I heard something, Bill Gates became an e-resident, if that's true, or some news was around. So maybe you can elaborate a bit on the background story of how and when e-Residency was set up and what it entails on a, let's say, larger scale.
It's actually a really big year for e-Residency. We're turning 10 this year. So the way e-Residency started is we kind of have to go all the way back to when Estonia became free from the Soviet Union. So the government had a choice on how to rebuild the society. And so from the beginning, they decided to do it digitally. So this is what makes Estonia unique. So although other countries are also trying to do their own e-Residency, what we have, our unique value offer, is that we have the digital infrastructure. And Estonians have been using their digital IDs ever since then. So, but because it is a rather, we like to say compact country, not small country, but we have all of this to offer, the digital identity gives us an opportunity to almost like export this government service. So 10 years ago, e-Residency was launched with the idea of bringing more talent and more businesses to the Estonian ecosystem. And the way it benefits Estonia is bringing tax revenues to the country as well as the state fees, but also in terms of soft power, it doesn't hurt to have friends all over the world.
Yeah. And in terms of how many e-residents do you have at the moment? If I recall, some years ago it was, I think you crossed the 100,000 mark, right?
Yeah. So at this point we have around 115,000. And in fact, Germany is our second biggest market.
Okay.
From Germany we have around 7,000 e-residents.
Okay. What's the biggest market?
Ukraine.
Ukraine. Okay.
And Ukraine has always been one of our top growing markets pre-war as well.
Yeah. Okay. And who are the, I don't know if you can disclose this publicly, but who are the most, let's say, prominent e-residents in your program? Because I remember I saw some news about Bill Gates. I know Obama was a big fan, but I'm not sure if he is an e-resident, so...
No, I don't believe he is. The first ever e-resident was Edward Lucas. And he's a prominent figure in UK politics.
Yeah.
Let me think. Who else would be like...
Is there no like key figure that you would say, wow, he is now an e-resident?
I can't think of any from the top of my head, so
Okay,
you can
never
cut
mind.
this part out of me thinking about it.
Never mind.
But the point is not having high-profile e-residents. The point is providing a tool for entrepreneurs. So we do have e-residents with very successful businesses.
Yeah.
One of them is also an e-resident, is one of the founders of an Estonian unicorn, Glia.
Ah, okay. Well, I just assumed that maybe if you have a very, let's say, prominent figure, it's maybe easier then to market also from your side than to promote the program. But yeah, never mind. Maybe we can just like, obviously it's intended also more for, you know, independent, location independent people and people that have their own business. Maybe you can talk about what are the requirements to get an e-residency. How do you say e-residency ship, or what's
E-residency.
E-residency.
Yeah.
What's the requirements to get one?
So to become an e-resident, you need to go on the application page, which is on our website. You need to fill out the application. It takes about 20-30 minutes. You need a valid ID, passport. Fill that out. Also, then when it's being processed, the Police and Border Guard Board will do a background check on you. So no criminal record, and just to make sure that you're clean. And that what your intentions are with e-residency and doing business here.
Can you talk?
That's basically all you need to do.
Can you talk about the acceptance rate that you have on average?
You know what? I need to check because it's changed. I think the rejection rate is around 8%.
8%. Okay. What is
something around there?
Yeah. Do you know like what are, maybe that ties into my next question, what are the most, let's say, common misunderstandings about e-residency? Because I think some, I heard, assume this is a proper, like, say, citizenship.
Yeah.
And like what are the most common misunderstandings? Yeah. And maybe that ties into why do people get rejected from the program? Is because there's a misunderstanding? Is it from, let's say, a previously criminal record, or maybe you can combine those two questions?
Yes, so the two common misunderstandings is that e-residency is a residency or a travel document. So it doesn't give you the rights to come to Estonia. If you need a visa, you'll still need to go through the visa application process. And the second misunderstanding is that Estonia is some sort of tax haven, which it isn't. Taxes are easy here, but taxation is not the reason to get e-residency, because whatever country you're in, you still need to pay your social tax in the country you're in, and your business taxes really depend on where the substance of your business is. And when it comes to people that are already e-residents, and I don't want to say thrown out, but it's quite rare for someone's e-residency status to be declined or once they're an e-resident. But there are cases.
But even before they, just let's say in the application process, why do they get denied access?
Well, I can't really comment on that since the process is in the hands of the Police and Border Guard Board.
Yeah.
But in any case, if there's some sort of a hint for bad intent, for example, money laundering, or if from like if you're seen as a high risk person, but it doesn't. In that sense, if you're already thinking about doing business in a way that's not transparent, then Estonia shouldn't be your choice anyways. Because in Estonia, the business environment is transparent. All information about the company, the revenue, the annual reports, everything is publicly accessible.
Now you spoke already a bit about who is targeted for the e-residency program. Can you maybe share like what those e-residents have in common in terms of like what their business profile looks like, in which areas they operate, what their background is basically? And maybe some demographics. Now you said like Ukraine, Germany, then the second biggest part, maybe let's say what's the age range or what's the some commonalities among those e-residents?
Sure. I mean, it varies depending on the markets, but on average, it is sort of middle-aged male entrepreneur. We're working hard also to encourage female entrepreneurs. For example, within our Ukraine community, we can see an increase in female entrepreneurs as well. What was your other question? You're asking so many in a row. It's hard to keep up in the same.
we're crossing some questions here and there. No, just like how what, let's say, the business areas of the e-residents.
Sure, yeah.
So is there like, are they mostly, I'm assuming, working online?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. So the easiest business to run through e-residency is digital services. So if you're doing anything online, if you're an IT consultant, if you're offering any kind of services that are online, if you're doing something educational, digital marketing, these are the kind of most typical. There are some e-commerce businesses and drop shipping. Also having a holding company in Estonia is quite common, and also for investment purposes.
Okay, so that also ties in nicely into my next question. So is it possible also, let's say, for people to apply for e-residency without having, let's say, the primary purpose of running a business, because maybe they don't have one, but they maybe want to, take advantage of this opportunity to have, facilitate their investments through in a kind of investment company in a kind of mixed way, like I do it, like I have a mix. But if there's solely, let's say, the investment purpose vehicle seen in the e-residency, is that possible for people to apply for e-residency?
Yes, it definitely is. Registering a company is not the only benefit of having e-residency. You also have the digital signature and the access to all these services. So if you need to, sign some sort of partnership agreements or investment agreements digitally as well, you can do that. I've also heard use cases when an e-resident founder, for example, has a lot of hiring to do. They use e-residency sort of as a KYC, or making the process easier, because then they can also sign all the documents digitally, and it cuts out the having to send something physically or print out and then scan the PDF. That entire process is cut out.
Yeah, I remember also like when I, for instance, just to give an example, when I signed my first annual report, which was now submitted, that I also just like digitally signed it, and the deal was done.
In Estonia, doing taxes is almost a race. So every year when we're doing our tax returns, everyone's waiting to log in on the first day, and it's almost a competition who can do it first, like fastest.
That's also something I heard, like there was how fast is it actually? Because I heard like the record, or maybe you can just tell, like how fast is it to apply for e-residency, get the citizenship, so to say. How fast is that process along the way? Because maybe some people assume this might take weeks, months. So in reality, how fast can it be?
So we are working on making the process faster. But what it looks like, you fill in your application, which then takes 20-30 minutes. And then the Police and Border Guard Board have 30 days to process your application. It can be longer if they have extra questions. On average, it is shorter. than that, but 30 days is like the official. And then it depends where you choose to pick up your card, and that's maybe 2 weeks. If you're in Germany, you know, it might be faster. It really depends on like the diplomatic post. So the process of applying and getting your card is the longest in the process. But then once you pick up your card, you can register a company. You can log in right away. And for example, we broke a world record in London on stage. An e-resident registered a company in front of everyone on stage in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And Estonia is really fast too. Like you'll get a reply from the court within days, and you can also, as soon as you apply to register your company, you can at the same time tick a box that you want a VAT number as well. And I've heard that takes a long time in some other countries.
Yes, true. So that's also a smoother way of handling things in Estonia. Now, getting back again 1 second to, because you said like investment holding company, and just to get the definition right, what I have is obviously a private limited company, an OÜ, with the jurisdiction in Estonia. Is a private, let's say, investment holding company, does it differ from the company form that I have at the moment? So is there like specific, let's say, different rules that apply from the legal company standpoint of view?
No, in the case of like holding companies too, they would be registered as we're going to be hit by a storm. So if we talk about investment and holding companies, there are service providers on the e-Residency marketplace that are experienced and can, you know, hold your hand through the process and help you set that up. And it's not that complicated. But also maybe something to point out what makes Estonia unique compared to a lot of other countries is that reinvested profits are not taxed. And I believe that when we were talking earlier, this is also something that you're making use of. So basically when you're starting a company or you have a holding company, you're looking to keep money in the company and reinvest, so encouraging growth. That money is not taxed until you take it out in the form of, you know, salary or dividends.
Okay, and just one more time, the holding company, is it a different legal structure, a different setup compared to a private limited company the way I have it at the moment?
No, I believe it's not. I believe it's the same.
It's the same.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know if there was a shift? Because I remember like some years ago, the primary purpose couldn't be the investment vehicle. So there had to be a, let's say, kind of business in the background, and then you can also facilitate investment. So is that something that recently has changed?
Now, what do you mean by facilitate investment? Because if you're doing any kind of like financial transaction and an intermediary, then you may need a license. But if you're just investing with your company, then no. But like when you fill in the application, you put your purpose, and if that's your purpose, you just put that. And also when you're registering your company, you're choosing kind of the industry that you're in, and from there you choose. But this can also be changed in time if you need to. Okay,
I'm asking because like back in the day, I was told like that the investments I want to facilitate through my company, the earnings have to come from the revenue of the company. So I can't just, let's say, deposit funds to the company from an external source and say this is now funds of the company and then facilitate them as an investment. But the funds need to come from the source of the business before using those funds and take them as an investment vehicle. If that makes sense.
It makes sense, yeah. I don't think you can quote me on this, but I think it's still like that now that you put it that way. Yeah.
Okay, but what I'm hearing is that if you from the beginning have the idea of I want to have an investment purposed company, then it's possible to set it up and then take advantage from the legal infrastructure. All right, then maybe just to wrap up, a couple words about the taxation. You pointed it out already. How does it work? You said it's not a tax haven in Estonia, but how does it work in reality, and how many taxes do apply once you withdraw then funds, and how does it differ for dividends and salary?
Sure. So in terms of salary, if you're paying yourself salary, your social income tax still goes to the country where you are a resident. corporate income tax is a flat rate of 20 in Estonia. When it's dividends, the net is 20 and the gross is 25. And again, these are only taxed once you actually take out the money. But also, having a company through e-Residency does not make you immediately a tax resident of Estonia or your company a tax resident. So this very much depends on your business model, where your customers are, and where you have the kind of business substance. So, for example, if you hire people in Estonia, or if you have an office here, or if all of your business takes place in Germany, all of your customers are in Germany, then you'll be paying tax most likely in Germany. But Estonia does have an agreement with other countries, so there will be no double taxation.
Perfect. Thank you very much for clarifying on this point as well. Anything to wrap up the interview? People that, what do they need to know about e-Residency, and what's the best way for them to get started?
Best way to get started, we have a lot of information on our website, but also our blog is a brilliant place because you can read about other e-residents and see how they use e-Residency for their specific businesses. So you can kind of think about the area or industry that you're in, and most likely you'll find another e-resident. Connect with the community. There's also a large community group on Facebook, e-Residents of Estonia. But also our team is incredibly reachable, so write to us as well and ask.
Yeah, I can just underline this. So whenever I had any questions, whether e-Residency or with my accounting system through Solo, it was always a very fast-paced response. And also, surprisingly for me, it took away a lot of the fear of, opening up the business account in a foreign country in a language I don't speak. And I, feared kind of this could, from a bureaucratic standpoint of view, become a little bit of an obstacle for me. But in fact, now almost 2 years in, can all just confirm that the process is very smooth, very fast, very transparent. So
and also in English, so you don't have to even speak Estonian or even try.
That's the point, yeah. And I think the most important things then, depending on your accountant or with help of e-Residency, can be sorted out and in the process. So yeah, very, very helpful and good program. More people should be aware of. So in that sense, Melissa, thank you very much for answering a couple of questions. If there's any more feedback from your side, obviously let us know in the comments below, and maybe Melissa will have a look and then answer accordingly. Thank you very much, and until next time.